A vivacious Vikdewday to you all. That being January 5th, a year ago today, I made this holiday to mark a full year of changing English every single day trying to get sponsored by Mountain Dew. An endeavor I would not end up successful in, and the holiday was to change the requirements both on myself with how much I had to post and do, as well as Mountain Dew and what they would have to do in order to sponsor me. As I went from offering things up every single day to them to having actual demands and getting to a point where I'd be working against them. And after a year of great personal growth, I was curious if the next year was going to be one of revenge, music, gaming, I don't know. Instead, it ended up being one of gratitude, humility, family, faith, and forgiveness. And I sure didn't expect that F word to be one of the words of the year. A lot of the series was trying to do things my own way and bring ethics without religion being involved. And then upon reflection, it kind of got me to God. But I mean, the entire series didn't really go as I planned. I wanted to do something special, wacky, fun, all molded by a community as constant offerings to them without expecting anything in return. But with the extremely low viewership it saw, it ended up being something that was just really my thoughts and not really for anybody else. And this embittered me and made me desperate in a time where I was bitter and desperate. So my intentions became less pure as the reality was farther from what I expected. That's kind of how I got to 250 days in. I changed from making these offerings to creating the Due Doomsday deadline, where I'm gonna put on all this pressure and kind of try to force the sponsorship in a way. And something that often represents the devil and other villains is the intellect that falls in love with itself. You think you're so right and what you make is so great. And historically that's been shown as like the root of evil. And I could see that happening in the series. I don't think it really got that bad. But I did want to follow through the thought and cap off that series with how I genuinely felt, which resulted in a pretty dark kind of finale that no one ended up really seeing because it essentially just got blocked. But it was kind of a blessing that it failed. It didn't give me the reinforcement that what I was doing was exactly right. So I did have to re-examine and think through things. And with it all kind of being my own thoughts, I was able to see through those flaws and tendencies that I was acting out that I just didn't like. As the year went on, I was able to reflect and had a lot more gratitude. One SWO was actually listening to the JJ Redick podcast. I don't even remember the guest or really the exact context, but I do recall his dad telling him, "It's not about you." And that was just kind of the motto that his dad would always remind him with, and JJ says it's like the most important advice that he has for living his life. And it's something that I held as absolutely true. And then when I re-examined how I'd been treating relationships and a lot of my pursuits and goals, I was not doing that. But diving into that motto of "it's not about me," it was incredible how the bitterness just shwoosh. And then when I looked at where I was putting my time, effort, focus, energy, most of it was my own pursuits, and simultaneously I had the thought that my family felt more disconnected at just about every level than they ever had. So I tried a new thing out, made that my focus, put more time, effort, energy into that, fix the simple things that I could, be present, be honest, create some routines with the family, and respect a lot of the traditional things that I was thinking could be flip-flopped. Had multiple months of that where things were progressing. And then as someone who hadn't believed in God for nearly a decade at that point, I offered to go to church with my mom. Something that was important to her, but she had stopped going because she would be alone. It became something we started to do as a family, and that's what really started to bring us closer. And that's when I kind of realized I was like a closeted Christian that's in denial that he believes in God. Like the core of all the main things that I believed in and strove for are direct from the Bible. I just wanted to like deconstruct and find the most pagan, non-religious equivalents to them because I wasn't feeling it. And really because I was bitter and scorned from when I was younger. And really a lot of the points where I had a lot of pride with the Mountain Dew series are just kind of substitutions for like religious prestigious pursuits. Like saying that I'm not trying to fit in with the world that I'm living in and instead am living to promote the best possible world or a better world. Man, is that some repressed heaven on earth redundancy. And so I may have pulled some really great nuggets from Christianity, religion, guiding me through my gabo-jabo of finding a new way. But it was split apart from God, and it certainly wasn't exactly right. And even if you're just a little bit off for a very long time, you're gonna miss that target badly. Which is also the definition of sin, by the way. It's an archery term. Just means to miss the target. And really, that's what the series was. I was wrong. I think there's a lot of great things that I did. It helped me tremendously as an individual. And I don't regret the words that I made, the process that I went through. Don't think it was too harmful, but it was a sin. And the main thing that would keep me using the words that I created is to save the embarrassment of saying I was wrong and go against the thing that I tried to do. And I like the idea of having the words always pop up to remind people of kind of the journey that I went through in the series. But really, I don't think anyone cares. I don't think they're going back to the lessons. I think it's just a thing for me, and I'm gonna remember these words anyway. So it kind of feels like something that's not serving other people, it's just for me. And as we've mentioned, it's not about me. So I'm gonna waive the Wiplish requirement of having to use my own language, having all the dead words that I created, and we're moving on past that. If you've got a problem with that, let me know. I'm curious. I don't know if anyone's gonna care whatsoever about this. Maybe you're relieved about it and thought it was nonsense anyway. I don't know. Other thing I kind of intended on this holiday was going through all the accomplishments of the year. But I gotta say, I'm kind of exhausted of going through those, and it feels like just brag talk that I'm not actually much of a superior of, which is fan, since I've just said that I'm getting rid of the requirement to say my old words. Bam, there's one that I couldn't say before, fan. Ho ho ho. So I'm gonna skip over all of the channel details and go big picture. In this year, I was blessed with figuring out how to be more gracious, being more connected with family than we have been in years, feeling way less anger, bitterness, depression, and now I believe in God. And I don't have all the answers with that, but that's kind of the point. I have no idea where we're going with the channel next. I'm guessing it's probably going to be less weird, which in Wiplish would probably be Gwyred, but I don't know what to expect out of anything at this point. We'll see what happens next. Bye bye.